Hello again, Gooners! Yes, it's been a long time, but I'm back with a vengeance, or one of those things. I'm not sure about vengeance. Who would I get vengeance on? There's no one to get vengeance on for anything, is there? I don't know if I'm making any sense to you. I'm certainly not making any sense to myself. But all I can say is, why so serious? I don't know if all of you get that, but I'll tell you who will get that. JP11, KH11, they know who they are. They are the guys who came up with the Goon Salute. The Goon Salute. That's what all Gooners are going to say to each other from here on in. Trust me on that. Okay, perhaps you don't trust me, but anyway, why be so serious is all I can say. I've said it for a second time. I won't belabor the point by saying it for a third time, but what I will do is tell you what's coming up. I've only hastily put this together, as in, I haven't actually put this together at all. I'm kind of just laying it on the line here. Well, I'll tell you what's coming up, seeing as you've asked, and now I'm going to deliver, all right? Or perhaps not. But I'm going to tell you, I'm actually going to tell you what's coming up, all right? So just hold your horses. Just stand by. Hold tight. Here it comes. What's coming up is this. The thing that I'm going to talk about is the following. I'm going to tell you all about my dream team. It's not an Arsenal dream team, so Gooners, you're not on full alert for this. It will come at the end, but it's something I need to pay tribute to these guys because I was managing them for a bit, and yeah, I need to pay those guys tribute because they're fantastic players, and I think they'll go on. Some of them will go on to become professionals. I'm pretty sure of that. So I'm getting all serious now. When I start talking about my football team, still call my football team. I do get serious about that. But that's about the only thing I'm going to be serious about, because the other stuff is all transfer news. I'm going to talk about the Raheem Sterling, Theo Walcott swap deal. That's the big one. And if you were in the audience now, you'd all go, "Ooh!" How about to this one? I'm going to play based on these transfer stories. I'm going to play with myself, because who else is there to play with around here? Nobody. I'm going to play a little game that I've devised called Yes, 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 Perhaps, Nah. Okay? So, yeah, I was going to put it on a card and spin it round. Then I realised you need 3 sides to a card, and I haven't devised a way to make that happen just yet. But, you know, I'm working on it. Luis Suarez, that old chestnut. I'm not saying he looks like a chestnut. You know, I don't know. Is there a joke between a Suarez and a chestnut? If you know of one, please fill me in on that. Peter Cech, is that a possibility? Yohan Cabaye, they're all old names, and they're not necessarily old players, but Yohan Cabaye, obviously a player who's been linked with us in the very recent past. Kevin Wimmer, somebody made a poor joke about that being something to do with he'll clean up our defensive issues. I didn't get the joke, and then it was explained what Vim is. What is it? It's some kind of product that I don't actually use. I'm not the cleanest around the house. I think a few people would testify to that. But anyway, Vim, yeah, what do you use it for? Somebody tell me anyway. I don't know what they use it for. Do you put it down the toilet? Do you put it in the sink? One of the two. See what I mean? Can't trust me with stuff like that. And then finally, I was going to say foully, because this guy's called Paulo Dybala. All I can say to that is Schansner, because it's that kind of name. Not quite as difficult as Schansner. And who knows if I'm, you know, I think that Polish guy was pulling my leg about calling him Szczęsny. It's probably Sir Szczęsny, as they call Szczęsny on Arsenal.com. And where is Szczęsny, by the way? He seems to have disappeared. No doubt somebody's going to tell me he's injured. But it's all very interesting, isn't it? Judging by your yawning faces, I'm starting to think perhaps it's not. But anyway, who needs Szczęsny? Let's start with him. When we've got David Ospina. Yeah, people love the way I pronounce things, so I'm sort of doubling up on myself there. But Peter Cech is being linked with us, as I mentioned earlier, and mainly because Ospina, according to the news report, isn't doing an amazing job. Well, I don't know who wrote that article. I should have made a note of it, but I didn't. I'd have to disagree with that, because I think Ospina's been steady in goal, and probably a bit better than steady, and I'm not unhappy with his performances by any means. If Peter Cech does come in, I won't be against it, but if he does come in, he's going to come in as second choice. I can see Szczęsny leaving. Maybe it's because he doesn't like the way I say his name. Who knows? But I can see him leaving. I really can. Because I think he's going to become increasingly frustrated because Ospina is not the sort of keeper who's liable to make serious mistakes. I say, hoping that he doesn't let me down on that. And with Burnley coming up, obviously, there's another reason to be on our guard. Because Burnley, let's not get carried away with Olivier Giroud having scored how many goals? 10 goals in 10 games? I did say to you, didn't I, at the start of the season, he'd get 20 goals. I'm not too sure how far off he is from that target at this stage, but 10 goals in 10 is not bad going. And all those people that said he was rubbish, well, I hope you're eating humble pie right now. Anyway, I don't suppose you are. Never mind. Let's move on with the transfer news. That was a pretty poor link, if ever I've heard one. Never mind. What sort of link is that? Anyway, let's not criticise myself. I'll leave other people to do that, and there's plenty of you that will, no doubt. Paulo Dybala, I'll come on to him next before I forget about him. Just in case you don't know, he is a speedy frontman, and he's going to cost something in the region of £30 million from Palermo. He currently wears pink. He'd like to upgrade to red, so that's why he could be on the way to Arsenal. There are conflicting views about how much he'll cost. Some reports suggest he'll cost something in the region of £27 million. You see, the longer I talk, the lower the price gets. So perhaps I'd better talk a bit more about Paulo Dybala, and perhaps his price will go down once more. Perhaps not. So let's just leave it there for now, because I think we've done enough of discounting bargain basement buys. 27 million, it stands at that at the moment. Going, he's not gone. Kevin Wimmer, meanwhile, will cost significantly less, according to the Daily Star. We are talking a discounted £5 million for Kevin Wimmer. He's an Austrian centre-back, currently plays for Cologne. No jokes about perfume, please. Yohan Cabaye, talking of perfume, because he's currently playing in Paris, the capital of perfume, if you like, and Paris Saint-Germain, no less. And obviously, he's a player that... Sorry about itching my face, it just felt like it. Yohan Cabaye is a player that I wanted us to buy a very long time ago, along with Mathieu Debuchy. Finally, we did get Debuchy. Perhaps we'll get Cabaye, his old Newcastle teammate. I'm not saying I can see this happening, but if he's available for £10 million, which was a fee that was rejected by Newcastle when we put that bid in, but perhaps will be accepted by Paris Saint-Germain. I can't remember which newspaper said this deal might happen. The story goes that Flamini will be leaving with Abu Dhabi at the end of the season, meaning, he said, scratching his face, meaning that Cabaye will be needed to plug the void left by those two players that rarely start. So when you start looking at it like that, it doesn't sound like a goer, if that's the term to use for a story that actually means something that actually could come true. So on that, I was going to say perhaps nah, yes, wasn't I? But I'll do that at the end of all the transfer stories. Peter Cech we've already talked about, haven't we? Ospina unconvincing according to the report, which is why Peter Cech could be coming in. He is known as an institution at Chelsea, according to Jose Mourinho. Luis Suarez, I didn't even write anything about this. I just think this story is so unlikely, but according to some reports, he could be on the way to Arsenal. No, I've jumped the gun. Nah, that's not going to happen, is it? Raheem Sterling, though, could he join Arsenal? He's got 2 years on his contract, stalling on signing a new one at Liverpool. He's a bit of a speed king, let's face it, and he would be the sort of player I'd like to see, especially if Theo Walcott refuses to sign a new deal. He's only got a year left on his current contract. He could be offered in exchange, and the tabloids going for that story in a big way, and I can see why there's some sense in it. It wouldn't be that surprising to me, bearing in mind that Theo is a Liverpool fan. So I wouldn't rule that one out at all. So I'm saying perhaps on that. Perhaps is definitely the one. Is definitely one I want to say. So I'll say it for that one. Peter Cech, nah. Yohan Cabaye, I'm sort of thinking yes on that one. I don't know why. It's probably because I want Cabaye to join. Kevin Wimmer, nah. And what about Paulo Dybala? I'd like to say perhaps, because I haven't said it enough in this bulletin, but I won't. I'll just leave it and nah. Because who is he? He's a speedy frontman who's going to cost £27 million. Unless that price drops a bit more by the time I see you next, I don't particularly see that one happening. So anyway, I was going to move on. I was going to talk about the dream team of team I will refer to as H under 16. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about what the newspapers say, and I'm also going to talk to you about another sort of dream team, which is an Arsenal dream team, and I'm going to put it on. What shall I put it on? Should I put it on this? This looks fit for purpose, wouldn't you say? Fit for purpose. Right, my Arsenal dream team is going to look like this. I don't know about what you guys think of it, but anyway, it's my team, and I'll have in whoever I want. So in goal, he's a bit more. You're not going to like this. I'll be honest with you. You're not going to like this. In goal, it's come up upside down anyway, so I don't even know why I'm bothering. But in goal, I've got Pat Jennings. Pat Jennings, Northern Ireland international. Talk about safe hands. Most people were talking about David Seaman, but I personally would say Pat Jennings, one of the best keepers I've seen. And when he did sign for Arsenal, Spurs fans were so upset. You can't even imagine how upset they were by that. And the next player I'm going to put in just reminds me. I've just changed my selection here. I'm going to put in as a number 6, Campbell, Sol Campbell. I better put SC. You can't read it anyway because it's all upside down. But there you go. SC, number 6. Sol Campbell. There's another player who Jennings actually cost Arsenal a fee when he signed from Spurs. But Sol Campbell came on a free transfer. And I could never forget him saying when he was asked about his future, he said, they asked him, are you going to leave the club? And he kept saying, I'm here and I. And that was his reply to every sort of newspaper reporter or journalist that reproached him. And I remember saying to a colleague of mine who was a Spurs fan, I said, you know what, I think Sol Campbell's going to sign for Arsenal. And he thought I was mad, and clearly I wasn't on that occasion. I'm not saying I'm not mad, but I do occasionally get these things right. So then, should we move to left back? I think we should, shouldn't we? Who is this? I've got KS. I don't know if you can guess who he is, but this is looking awful on this whiteboard, but never mind. KS, that's somebody by the name of Kenny Sansom, England international, sturdy right back. He's had his personal problems of late. Met him before, and he's a lovely person. So as well as a great footballer, a great person. So Kenny Sansom. It's got to be number 3, I think. Obviously, a lot of contenders for that. Ashley Cole, not the most popular guy in the world, but certainly an excellent left back. Bob McNabb, strong, well, just a solid left back. We had a fair bit of skill about him as well. Who else comes to mind? There's plenty of them. Silvino I liked a lot, but probably didn't play enough games to be a legend, but it wouldn't stop me putting him in the team. Right, number 5, my captain, FM. Nothing to do with radio. We're talking Frank McClintock. Frank McClintock looks even better in this upside down formation. So Frank McClintock, a proper captain in every sense of the word. He's the first double winning captain of Arsenal. So I think you've got to have him in the team. And he put us on track for winning doubles. He got us used to the idea. Obviously, some clubs have never done it yet. But at who am I putting at right back? I'm nearly forgetting myself. VA. Does anyone know who that is? It's a player by the name of Viv Anderson. Viv Anderson, he came from Nottingham Forest. Well, he was at Nottingham Forest. He did play for Man U as well. Can't remember who we signed him from, but an excellent right back. And I didn't feel we were particularly blessed in that department. You know, when I think about all the players, I've seen Luzhny play there. Pat Rice was a brilliant servant to the club playing in that position, and you know he was one of my first choices actually. Lee Dixon, I don't think was quite the same level as Pat Rice. So a lot of good players at right back, but any greats? I think when you look at the other departments, goalkeeper and the other 3 in the back 3, I think they're a little bit stronger. No disrespect to Viv Anderson, who I think I picked on his quality as a player. So then looking at the number 7 slot, I'm putting in RP. And that's not Robin Van Persie without his van. That is, in fact, Ray Parlour. Because I think you need a workhorse in the team, and Ray Parlour provides that work ethic. I think you also need, in your team, you need a tough guy. And so I'll put in PS. And that's not the thing you put on the bottom of the letter. It's PS for Peter Storey. Who again was in that first ever double winning team and a real hard man. People used to talk about Norman Hunter, but this guy would give Norman Hunter a run for his money, and he played for England not many times, but I thought excellent player. I'm going to put in a flair player now on the left, and that player is MO, Mark Overmars, because I think you need pace as well in your midfield, and Mark Overmars gave Arsenal pace in abundance. So there, you've got Mark Overmars. So finally, this was a difficult one. I had a couple of ideas in mind for this final position in central midfield. Now, I was thinking about putting Alan Ball in, and he was our record signing when he joined from Everton back in the 70s. But instead of Alan Ball, I decided, because of the numbers, the shirt availability in terms of numbers, the number availability, I went for a false 9 there and put in, this is a very controversial one, CF, Cesc Fabregas. I'm going to play him, let him play where he wants. He's going to wander around, and you know who's going to look after him? Peter Storey. Peter Storey look after Cesc and make sure that Cesc doesn't get too much stick. I think Cesc can take care of himself a fair bit, but not the way Peter Storey can. And I love that combination. I've always gone on about it. Flamini and Fabregas was a brilliant midfield combination. Took us to top of the league. Unfortunately, we couldn't win it. So the reason why I put a number 9 in midfield is because at number 8, you can't leave him out, can you? Ian Wright. So there he is, playing up front, and no surprises about who's going to play alongside him. I've gone for pace over skill. So I know lots of people would say it's sacrilege not to put Bergkamp in. But you've got to have Henry, because Henry is so versatile. He could be going down the left wing as well. No one's better than Thierry Henry. Sorry about that. So if any of you are disappointed, don't really care. I'll be honest about that. Before I go on to my other dream team, just a little tiny bit of news, because I'm doing this little roundup, what the newspaper says, as opposed to what the newspapers say, because I only looked at 2 today and I left 1 on the train. But this is a not particularly interesting story. Monreal, slow start may have cost us the title. He believes that because we didn't start very well, it's going to cost us the title. It does what it says on the tin, really, that story, doesn't it? He tells us that Olivier Giroud is very important after scoring 10 goals in 10 games. And Monreal believes, obviously we've got a hectic schedule coming up. We have got a game against Chelsea, but before that we've got Reading, 8 days before that, in the FA Cup semi-final. It's really important we don't take our eye off the ball for those particular games. Interesting story there. Harry, the real reason I quit QPR, nothing to do with Arsenal, but still probably more interesting story than Monreal's, got to be honest. Redknapp admitted he walked out on QPR because he was fed up of people working against him. Who would have thought that such a thing could go on in the world of football? Anyway, I'll tell you what I'll do now. If you've actually sat through this far, I will go on to give you my dream team. But before I do that, I just want to say a couple of things, because I've obviously had a bit of a change of scenery, not this background, but there's a bit of a change of scenery in my work life, and I'd just like to say a big shout out to the following people. I'll give some more shout outs in the next one, but there's such a long list of people, and a big shout out to the following. That's JR10, JH10, HB10 and his team of pencils, and SH10, who's a gooner through and through, and has even been a mascot on the pitch. So well done to all those guys for being so entertaining over a period of time when I worked with them. I've obviously got to pay tribute to KH11 and JP11 for giving me the goon salute, which they told me I couldn't have, but I took it anyway. And then finally, I want to say a big shout out to my dream team guys, and there are plenty of them, and I'm gonna put those together now. So if you want to hear more Arsenal stuff, you're not going to hear it. So I'm going to say goodbye to those viewers right now and continue to talk to those people that are not just interested in Arsenal; they're interested in other things too. So I was gonna pick up a raisin at this point and display it for no particular reason, and I was even going to pick up the KFC bucket, which is also a raisin of types because it is food. But the KFC bucket, how does that fit in? I'll tell you how it fits in, because you know, if you want to create a dream team, one of the things you have to do is you have to tempt that dream team into playing for you and keeping clean sheets. And the best way to do that, I felt, was was offer them the KFC that they all craved for. So that's exactly what I did. And did we keep clean sheets? Oh yes, yes we did. And the main reason for that wasn't just the KFC. KFC helped a lot, but the main reason, if I may wipe this board, and I better do that because the last board is kind of wrecked because I didn't wipe it. But the reason for that is this guy, CH. He'll have to be known as CH. And there he is in goal. And doesn't it look much better when it's written the wrong way around, as if it were in a mirror? So I had some really difficult selections to make in defence, because a lot of good defenders play for H under 16, which is why they're all abbreviated to initials. And in the end, I went for BT at right back. So he's getting the number 2 shirt, BT, and it's the mirror formation. And then number 5, this may surprise a few people, but I think it's well deserved. And with the skipper's armband, it's WE. I think he knows who he is. I think he's going to become a Marine one day and no one's going to mess with him. And that's exactly why I'd want him on the pitch, because he marshals the defence well. He's a good talker. He's the sort of player everyone wants to have in their team. So if he wanted to go pro, I'm sure there'll be clubs interested. BT, another tough guy, and I wanted him in defence because in the last game that I saw him play, came on as a sub, and he took out the opposition's best player within about a minute of coming on the pitch, and I do like to see that from defenders. He did it fair and square, and that's what made it even better still. Another central defender you can't leave out of your team. It's number 4. So I've given him the number 4 because a midfielder wants number 6. It's JV. He scored a couple of sensational goals in the cup, and I'll never forget that. And not only that, he's another tough defender, tough but fair, and no one would say a bad word against him because he's big. That's part of it. And yeah, he's imposing, and that's exactly what you want in a centre back. He's not quite as tough as WE, skipper, or BT, but he's tough, and this kind of defence is formidable, I feel. So I'm gonna add a bit of guile to that defence, and left back is a brilliant reader of the game. I've got JW playing at left back, which is the position I saw him play in first when I first managed the team, and there he is, JW, getting the number 3 shirt against all the odds. I wasn't sure I was going to put him there because there's another contender who I really wanted to put there because that's his best position. I'm not sure that is JW's best position, but he plays anywhere in the back 4, but in the end I felt I had to put BT in, I had to put WE in, and JV picks himself. So I would rather put JW in defence than the other player I'm going to talk about now, who is DW. And they don't share the same surname, but they do share the same letter of their surname. And DW, I can so see him turning pro. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he turns pro. But personally, even though I put him on the left wing with a view to him helping out JW at the back, even though I put him there, I feel his best position is at left back or even centre back because he sweeps up so well. He reads the game really well, and he's quick. He's really quick. So DW, great future ahead for him. And as is the case with all of these players, then I've talked about having hard men in midfield, and it doesn't get much. You don't get much harder than JS. He's got to play in the middle of midfield. He's gonna be the guy holding it all together, and obviously taking out opponents if needs be. But he plays the game pretty fairly generally, and well, always actually. And he is a very elegant player. As it's been mentioned on many occasions by co-commentators standing alongside me in the dugout. And we're going to come to him later. GF are his initials, which is why he's on the bench, because I need him alongside me to tell me what's going on. But JS, yeah, he's a solid player, and he doesn't make many mistakes. So I think he's the sort of guy you want as your linchpin in midfield. And also, as I said, I like the fact he's a little bit tough. Number 7, I've given it to a player who's a bit of a workhorse, a bit like Ray Parlour in a way. TL, he knows who he is. And this guy works his socks off every single match. He never ever lets the team down. Hardly ever makes a mistake. And he can even score you a goal or two. He won't get you like 3 goals a game usually, but he'll nick a goal here and he'll nick a goal there, and he'll supply a few crosses. I think he's so underrated. Although I did notice somebody else put him in the dream team, so I was really pleased about that. So TL number 7. So it's been really tough choosing out of so many good players, but somebody's got to do it. So at the moment I've got a four at the back, 3 in midfield, and now I'm going to pick 2 to play just in front of that midfield. And obviously you've got to put CT in. What I'm really impressed by in terms of CT is, there he is, he gets a number 10 shirt, which is what he likes to wear. CT's got to play because when he's on his game, which is most of the time, he's almost unplayable. I just think he stays on his feet against the odds. He dribbles past players. I don't think he's lightning fast, but he's quite quick, and he's got amazing trickery, and I think you just got to have that. He's a flair player, so he's just been pretty good in most recent games, I've got to say. So I think CT has got to be in there, and the same goes for SS, who wears the number 8. He has to be in the team. He scores goals from all over the place. It's not unusual. I'm not going to break into song now, but it's not unusual to see him score from the halfway line. That's the sort of player he is. He sort of, I don't know why, but he reminds me of Bobby Charlton in a way. Not that I saw Bobby Charlton a lot, but when I've seen a bit of footage here and there, Charlton had this amazing shot. He could shoot from virtually anywhere, and he could pass the ball 40, 50 yards without a problem. SS is in that sort of category for me. And he thinks he's not very quick, which is a bit of a joke to me. He's not lightning, but he's pretty quick if he puts his afterburners on. So got a little bit of pace with him. I think DW is pretty pacey, as I mentioned before. So we've got a bit of pace in the team. CT's no slouch either. But number 9, I've had to go for. I'm putting DJ number 9 because this guy is a poacher. He's not only a poacher. So there's your 11. The DJ is not only a poacher; he's more than that. He's I don't think he's particularly a team player, but you've got to have him in your team because he might get you a goal out of nothing. He's the sort of guy you could give him the ball at the corner flag and it'll end up in the net. He's that kind of guy. So I really like the fact that he does work hard for the team. I mean, he's more of an individual, and so I don't think he gets loads of assists, but you need a bit of selfishness up front. Obviously, I would have put JJ in there somewhere, but he's off to greener pastures. If it's green in Nottingham, that's where he's heading, for a big transfer fee as well, and I'm not even joking. So he would have been, obviously, we'd have to find a place in the team for him, but couldn't do it on this occasion because he hardly played under my management, which was a shame because I did like seeing him play. I saw him score a hat-trick when he did play. But that wasn't a game that I was managing. Who else deserves a place in the team and didn't get one? Well, as I already mentioned, there was GF. GF, I would have him on the bench as an analyzer, a co-commentator, a summariser. He's also a utility player, so you need a utility player on the bench. You can throw GF on virtually anywhere, and he's going to do a decent job for the team. And he's played really well at right back and on the right side of midfield. So he's a player. PR, he's got to be in there. I didn't write his name down for some reason, but there's so many good players, and my apologies if I forget any of you. But PR is another player that can play pretty much anywhere in midfield and do a decent job. Then I've got AA, who's been a bit of a mascot and a lino and moral support, and he's the sort of guy you need in and around your squad all the time. Got JG, who I've only seen once play. He played once, and he showed that he can harry opponents. He's a tough tackler. He's the sort of player that I'd like to have around as well. Who's this? Finally, I've got TS, who might nick a goal and supports attacks. Oh yeah, of course, TS. I couldn't think who that was when I thought about the abbreviation. Obviously, I'm picturing him now. TS is a good laugh as well. So he's the sort of guy you want to have around, and he was pretty close to getting in the team. It was a heart-rending decision to leave out the likes of TS and GF in particular. Obviously, JJ got left out because he's hardly played due to his professional commitments. But quite honestly, I'm seeing a lot of these guys moving on to have professional careers because they are that good. So you heard it here first. You probably won't remember it because it's all been in initials, but you know, there are various reasons for doing it that way. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. I hope your next manager gets you KFC if you keep clean sheets, and I'm sure you will keep clean sheets if you've got CH in goal, because I think, you know, having thought about it for some time, CH would be my player of the season because some of his saves have been miraculous. They have been absolutely miraculous, and Gordon Banks would have been proud for some of the saves I've seen CH pull off. SS has provided a lot of highlights as well, so he probably ran him a close second, as did CT. So they were my top three players really of the season. So both of those would receive runners-up awards if I was dishing out anything. And that's all I've got. That's all I've got for you now. So if you managed to stay on this long and listen to 31 minutes of drivel, and plus some elements of surprise, or lack of surprise, well, congratulations on that. And all I can say is I will upload again when I get a chance. Don't know when that will be. And until the next time, I will say, away!